Hey, boo-boo. Let's go get some picnic biscuits. Hey, boo-boo. Hey, it's my little sound check. Thursday Thunder podcast. If possible, it's super early on a Thursday, getting this done before my day job. Hey, I'm Bradley Charbonneau, and this is Thursday Thunder, and I've got an offer for you, and especially if you're coming to me from Podmatch. Now, if you're coming from Podmatch, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you don't, Podmatch is an awesome service. It's like a matchmaking service for podcasters and guests of podcasts. I use it. I love it. I have a podcast and I like being a guest on podcasts. And this is for you. So if you're not a podcast guest, it might be interesting if you'd like to be on my podcast, because here's what I'm going to talk about. Here's my sort of request or my challenge or my offer, my invitation, shall I say, for you potential podcast guest. Great. Hey, so if you're coming from Podmatch, you probably don't know me. My name is Bradley Charbonneau. I have a brand called re343, and I have books and courses and whatnot. My latest book, basically, here's my tagline for re343. It's who will you be next? And I'm all about future and future self and change and habits and how can you become the person you'd like to be. And ideally sooner than later. And ideally, and this is going to hit home for maybe some of you, but to not wait for that big, giant, especially tragic and negative event in your life in order to start making that change. I say this with pain in my heart, as that's pretty much what launched me on my journey when my dad passed away. So don't wait until someone is sick, especially not you, or dies, to get going on what you want to do. That said, and this is why I'm all about action. I'm very much living in the moment, but I'm also creating your future. And that's what I'm talking about today. So here's my little pitch. Here's my little offer. You're coming from Podmatch, or if you're a regular listener to the Thursday Thunder YouTube video or re343 podcast, you are welcome to jump on in here. But here's my thing. So in Podmatch, I have a podcast, and so you potentially would like to be on my podcast. Awesome. Here's what I would like to talk about on this episode of the podcast that you're on. I would like to talk about your success with one. W-O-N, with O-N-E, W-O-N, with your one word, one book. Now, I'm going to put a link to the book below, and I would like to have you on the podcast after you have finished your one word book, and I'd like to talk about your process, your success with that one word book, how it worked out for you, what you did. We'll link to the book if you want it publicly available. If it's more of a private book, that's fine. The book is really for you. Here's the story of the book. Yes, it's one word, one single word. There's going to be one chapter, and there's going to be one word in that one chapter. That's it. This word is your word for the year. And it doesn't matter that it's almost April 2024. It's your word for the coming year, for the coming 6 months, for the coming 2 years, whatever it is. It's not that finite. It's actually sort of more important that you choose a word and that you focus on it and that you embody this word. That's what we're really doing. We're empowering this one word for you for the year. My word is focus. My focus this year is this project and projects around it, but believe me, that's focus compared to my usual unfocused self. So my book is already helping me. I want your book to help you. Now, I tend to do kind of wacky projects. If you follow me for a while, you know I do things like the worst book ever. I had a branding agency called Likoma, which is an island in Eastern Africa. So I tend to do a little oddball things. And I tend to challenge people. And I like to reward action takers. So if you are an action taker and you want to get this thing done, you're up for a challenge. I think the entire thing might take an hour or two, okay? And I just had a student yesterday, she sent me her book. I think it was it 12 pages, 18, right? I mean, we're talking about, the writing is minimal. I'm going to tell you right this minute, what are the contents of the book. There are 12 elements to the book. one of them is your one chapter, but there are other ones. There's like title, there's subtitle, and I might forget some because I'm doing this literally while I'm in my office, by the way. If you don't know me, this is my office. This is where I think most clearly. Pro tip, by the way, I believe that we can get the most done in those places and those times of day where we think most clearly. Like this, for example, for me, I'm walking with Pepper, I'm in the woods, it's morning. This is when I'm at my best. So this is clarity for me. This is where I have my clarity, I have my courage, I have my confidence. So I suggest that for you as well when working on your book to do that when it's best for you. Okay, what do we have? We got title, subtitle, and you'll see this all in the book. Epigraph, that's a quote, that's what I want you to find. Dedication, who's this for? Dedication, so preface. Preface is an important part. This is where you're gonna write out kind of like daily journal style in the present moment where you are right now. You can talk about your goals for the future, that's great, but you don't know the answers yet because it's the present moment and you're writing in the present tense. It is April 2024 and this year, my word is focus and I'm gonna focus on fewer things, right? Blah, blah, blah. You're gonna blah, blah, blah your current state of affairs with the ups and the downs, right? Oh, this isn't going well, I'm scatterbrained, but this is going well, oh, my books are selling, blah, 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 right? Great, that's that. Then you have your one word. As I said, for my word is focus. By the way, there is some help in the book. If you think you don't know your word, I give you some help as to how to find your word, I call it more like uncover, because I know you actually have it. Then there's the most important chapter, and that's the epilogue. Epilogues, as you may remember from like movies or something, at the end of a movie, it'll often say epilogue, 1 year later. So that's what we're doing. It's actually 1 year later. And you are going to write this thing, the epilogue, from the future, looking back to now. So looking back to the current present day, and you're going to write from the future. You're going to write in the past tense. So I'd like you to start out like this. 2024, what a year. You feel it? So this is, and you're going to write in the past tense. 2024 was a fantastic year. I did this, this, and this happened. It doesn't have to be all flowers and rainbows and unicorns, right? You can say some setbacks you had. But remember, what you're doing is you're sort of projecting, you're forecasting your future, which is the future from right now, and you're retelling it from the position of your future self. Now remember, this future self is more educated than your current self. It's more he or she's more experienced than your current self. Has more ups and downs, has been through it, has done it all, and has succeeded in the year. So that's it, the epilogue, and then there's the about the author, also by, and acknowledgement. You'll see. It's all laid out in the book. Everything is laid out how to do it. I was in Seville in Spain last week and got a great tip from a fellow author friend who said, hey Bradley, are you going to offer your students to be able to print their books? Now, printing it usually needs to be at least 64 pages to print a little book. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 52 weeks of quotes and maybe prompts for you to make this your year. So we're going to have your word. We're going to have the future telling, the future history it's called. And then we're going to have 52 weeks where you can write in your own paperback book. So treating it like a workbook for the coming year. And what that's also going to do is it's going to give it enough pages so that you can print it. And of course, remember, I've published 38 books. I know how to publish books. I know how to get them out there. I know how to do it to get the paperback, to get the ebook. I'm going to show you all that stuff. I'm basically going to show you how to publish a book and also privately publish a book. So if you don't want this thing public, which I totally understand, like my student yesterday didn't want it public, absolutely get it, then I'll show you how to do all this stuff. So I'm going to show you how to put together a book, and it's also going to be the forecast of your coming year. This is what I want to talk about on my podcast. If you want to be a guest on my podcast, I'd like you to do this. I'd like you to buy, yes, I'm asking you to buy my book. It's $2.99. Buy my book, go through it, do it. It's going to take you an hour or two, finish it, and then give me a call and let's get on the podcast. And there's an incentive as well to even make money off of this. I'll tell you more about that later if you're interested. I'm running out of time. I've got 10 minutes. I'm almost there. I'm Bradley Charbonneau. This is Re343 Podcast and Thursday Thunder. I'm here every single week. See you next week.